Hi folks, HR Funk here. Out on the range with what I hope is going to be an interesting video. Some of you know that several months ago I acquired a Meprolight M22 rifle sight, and I've had it on my Military Armament Corporation Mac 5 ever since I got it. And I have really become a fan of these sights. It is a tremendous optic. I like using it. I like the fact that I never have to worry about batteries or anything else. Some of you might have saw that I had a video where I talked about mitigating issues with reticle washout. If you didn't see that video, I'll put a link in the description of this one. In any case, Meprolight recently came out with a new version of the M22 that has an amber reticle. Now, to discuss this, we have to go back in history just a little bit and talk about the original M21 from which the M22 evolved. The M21 had and still has an amber reticle. And for more information on the M21, check out the Meprolight website. In any case, Meprolight came out with the new amber version of the M22 in response to requests from shooters who believed that the amber reticle was brighter and easier to pick up quickly when engaged in defensive type shooting. Now this started me wondering, is the amber reticle really faster to get on target and brighter, which would hopefully lead to better accuracy since you can see the reticle better? Or is this something really that's more of a psychological issue? And I don't want to downplay that, because anything that makes a shooter more confident with their weapon system is going to be a good thing if that shooter actually has to deploy that weapon system for defensive use. In any case, I contacted Meprolight and I said I would like to test this with an amber version of the M22 and my existing red version of the M22, and they were good enough to send me this M22 Pro. Now the only difference between the M22 and the M22 Pro is this has a light kit attached to it directly from Meprolight, but I'm not going to be using the light kit. I'm only going to be using the ambient light, which today is very bright sunlight, and I'm going to be engaging a target in a series of drills and try to find out if it is any faster to get shots on target with the amber reticle, or if the amber reticle and the red reticle are essentially a tie when it comes to time. And we'll also take a look at the accuracy. So with that little bit of an introduction out of the way, let's get on with things. So here is my original M22 still mounted to my Mac 5, just as I said it was. And one of the things I noticed when I first got the M22 Pro with the amber reticle is, yes, it does seem to be brighter, and for my eyes, the reticle is a little clearer. Now, I have a slight astigmatism, and sometimes red illumination, whether it be a red dot sight or any other type of an optic, is a little distorted when I look at it, and I think I get some of that also with the M22 when I look at the red reticle. Both of these M22s, by the way, have the bullseye style reticle, so I'm using the exact same reticle. The only difference is the color. When I noted that difference though in the M22 Pro, and I've got that still right here, my first thought was, well, maybe there's something to this, because it does seem to be a little brighter and a little clearer to my eyes. But when I looked at them side by side, I noticed that that difference in the illumination comes with a cost as well. There is more of an overall bluish hue when I look through the lens of the M22 Pro with the amber reticle than there is when I look through the M22 with the red reticle. Now that's not really a big deal, I don't think. I've looked at this under interior illumination. I've looked at it out here on the range under bright sunlight, and I don't have any problem seeing the reticle. I don't think it's going to cause any issues. I'll try to flash up some photographs on the screen here so you can see kind of the difference between the two and what the reticles look like and how they appear when you're looking through them under different types of light conditions. I'm also going to try to get a photograph of using these under low light, and maybe I'll throw in a weapon mounted light shot as well so you can see what that's going to look like. For my test, what I'm going to do is mount both of these optics to two different firearms. I'm going to start out with the Mac 5, and since I'm really looking at target acquisition speed, I'm only going to be firing one shot in each drill. The drills will be initiated with my shot timer, so I'll start in a low ready position. When I get the signal to fire, I'm going to come up, and as fast as I can, I'm going to put one shot on a B-27 style target. Now, typically I don't like B27 targets because I don't like the position of the scoring rings in relation to the anatomical features in an actual human adversary. But for these purposes, since I have a clear X in the center of the target, that's what I'm going to be aiming for. So I'm going to see how quickly I can gain my target acquisition and squeeze off a shot. And as I said before, we can also look at the accuracy I'm able to obtain to see if there's any difference in that from one color reticle to the other. As far as the drill is concerned, I'm going to be firing it 5 different times from 5 different distances. I'm going to start out at 5 yards, then 10 yards, 15 yards, 20 yards, and then 25 yards. The first time through, I'm going to be using my Mac 5. And I'm going to start out with the red reticle and fire each drill 1 time. Then I'm going to swap optics and put the amber M22 onto my Mac 5. Between shooting and recording, I'm going to zero that sight to this firearm so we don't have any issues there. Then I'm going to fire back through those drills again. 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 yards, 1 shot each, initiated by my shot timer. Then I'm going to swap the optic over to my PSA SBR, and this time around I'll start out with the amber M22, again zeroed to this firearm, and fire the drill 5 times from each of those distances. Then I'll put the red M22 onto this SBR and fire that once from each of those distances. So this should be fun. I'm going to calculate the average time for each shot when I get all the way done, and we'll take a look at the accuracy and see if we can figure out anything about whether or not the color of the reticle really matters, or again, if maybe that's more of a psychological and confidence issue than it is an actual situation where the reticle is going to improve the shooter's capabilities. Now, somebody always comes in the comment section and says something like, well, the only way you could determine that is if you had a huge group of shooters with all different sorts of skill sets and one thing and another, and you tested that over a period of time, yada, 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 yada. Yes, if I was conducting this for NASA, that's the way I would do it. I'm not. I'm making a YouTube video, so we might have to extrapolate some data from the time I get done, and you can apply this based on your own knowledge, your own experience, and determine whether or not you think there's any validity to these results. So here we go. So here we go, folks, starting out from 5 yards with the Mac 5. Get my shot timer ready to go, and we'll see what happens here. .93 seconds. Now I'll back up to 10 yards and try it from there. I think I'm going to leave the camera in the same place just to save time, so I'm going to get much smaller as I go back farther and farther. I'll try to magnify this some when I edit the video, but we'll see how it goes. .25 seconds. That didn't seem that slow, but 1.25 is what showed up on the shot timer. Back to 15 yards. .41 seconds, 1.41. .51, 1.51 seconds. And 1.47, 1.47 seconds. A couple of things before we go on, folks. First off, have I mentioned how much I like shooting the Mac 5? I will definitely take that accuracy going all the way back to 25 yards. 4 of those 5 shots are in the X ring, 1 of them just outside in the 10 ring. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. The other thing is, I just noticed when I walked back down range and looked at the target camera that it was on the slow motion setting. So I'm hoping I can speed that up when I get to the editing process and have you be able to see this at normal speed. We'll see how that goes, but if not, then this might be the only look you get at the accuracy. All of these from 5 yards back to 20 yards are the ones in the X ring here, and this is the one from 25 yards just outside into the 10 ring. I have now mounted the M22 with the amber reticle on my Mac 5, a process made much quicker and simpler by the quick release mounting system utilized by the M22, so that's very nice. I have zero this optic at a distance of 25 yards. I marked the previous shot holes on the target with red stickers, appropriately enough for the red reticle. Now we'll see if the amber reticle shows any improvement whatsoever in either time or shot placement. So once again, from 5 yards with the amber reticle M22. I think I have my target camera on the right setting this time. By the way, I meant to mention earlier that I am using my clear shooting glasses today since I'm taking a look at the color of these reticles to see if that has any influence on the shooting. I want to make sure that the color of the lenses of my shooting glasses don't interfere with that, so I'm using clear lenses. Let's see what happens here from 5 yards. .09, and I felt like I rushed that shot. But let's see what happens as I go farther and farther back. .90, I definitely rushed that one. Wow. Maybe I should have stuck with the red. .30 seconds. .23, 1.23. For me at least, the red reticles seem to be working much better, which surprises me. I did not expect that to be the case. I just double checked the Mac 5 with that M22 Pro to make sure it is zeroed at 25 yards, and it is. So this is me pulling these shots somewhat to the right. Probably those are going to be lung shots. I think they're still going to be effective shots on our bad guy, even though these scoring rings are kind of low. But definitely I was not getting the accuracy with the amber reticle that I was with the red. I'll have to calculate the times and see what they look like. As I stand here right this moment, I don't know which one was faster. I've now changed over the M22 Pro to my PSA SBR, and this is precisely the reason I'm using two different firearms for this test. It could be, with the results we saw the last time around, that I just had a better run the first time through the drills with the Mac 5 than I did the second time through, and it had nothing to do with the reticle color whatsoever. So this time around, I've got a different firearm, different handling characteristics, different trigger, even a different cartridge. This is a 556 as opposed to the 9mm in the Mac 5. So maybe we can at least see if there's a trend one way or the other, or if it comes out being a tie in the end. Let's find out. .19, 1.19 seconds. By the way, folks, if I didn't say it before, this is the M22 Pro with the amber reticle this time around. .25, 1.25 seconds. And it's one thing after another today, folks. I forgot to activate the target camera that time. There's that shot from 10 yards. Now let's go back to 15 yards. I'll try to remember to start the camera this time. .06 seconds. .54, 1.54 seconds. .29, 1.29. I felt like I pulled that one a little bit low. I have to walk up and see where it hit. Well, I felt wrong. That shot could not have been much better from 25 yards. I feel like I redeemed myself a little bit that time with the amber reticle, so maybe I just did have a bad run with it the first time too with the Mac 5, but I'm going to swap it over now and put the M22 with the red reticle on the SBR, and we'll see what kind of group we get with it. Last time through, folks, I now have the red reticle M22 mounted to the PSA SBR. It is zeroed for that distance of 25 yards, and I've got the shots from the amber reticle M22 covered up on the target. They're all inside the 10 ring. Let's see if I can do as well with the red reticle. .06 seconds, 1.06. .10, 1.10. 1.13, 1.13. 1.33, 1.33. 1.50, 1.5. And with the red reticle, had one shot leak out of the 10 ring, made it up here to the 9 ring. I think that was from 15 yards. This one tried to make it out of the 10 ring, but it broke the line, so that counts as a 10. All in all, I did better that time around with the SBR, with the amber reticle, than I did with the red reticle. Now, let's head back to the shop and take a look at the times and see if we can figure out anything from them. And here we are back in the shop to see what we can determine after all that shooting that was just done out at the range. Behind me are the targets that I was using for those drills. The target on your right is the target for the Mac 5. The target on the left is the target for the SBR. The stickers on each target show which sight was used to fire the shots, where those stickers are located. The light colored stickers are for the M22 with the amber reticle. The red stickers are from the M22 with the red reticle. When it comes to looking at the times, I have broken down the times several ways. First off, I have each individual time for each sight on each firearm on every single drill. I also calculated the total time for each sight on each firearm for all 5 drills, so that's a total of all 5 drills added together. And I've calculated the average time for each sight on each firearm, so an average time for all 5 drills is shown on that line. In looking at the times, the first time through, the one that I had the actual best score of all of the drills, that one had the slowest time. It had the slowest total time and the slowest average time, and I think that explains the reason why my accuracy was so much better that time around. Looking at this target, I was able to cover all 5 shots with only 3 stickers. 4 of the 5 shots are in the X ring, dead center in the target. I had one that leaked out just a little bit to the left here. So the accuracy was good. The time was the longest, but when we look at that and compare it to the other times, there's just not that much difference. The fastest time that I had was my second run through with the Mac 5, and that actually ended up having the worst accuracy. And I think what happened was, after I shot through the first time so well, the second time through I was just feeling a lot more confident, and when I came up with the Mac 5, as soon as I saw that reticle, I was starting to press the trigger and my accuracy suffered. Maybe that amber reticle was a little brighter, so it was catching my eye faster and I was starting my trigger press faster. I don't know. I can't say that with any certainty. But I can say that my accuracy was not nearly as good on my fastest run as it was on my slowest run. Switching gears over here to the SBR, The accuracy actually changed places. The first time through with the SBR, I was shooting the M22 with the amber reticle, and I had a perfect score numerically. This is a 50 out of a possible 50 on all 5 of those drills. And I've got 2 of those that are X-ring hits. For the second time through with the SBR, I was using the M22 with the red reticle. The accuracy is still very good. I had 1 shot that leaked out into the 9 ring and another one that tried to. This ended up being a 49 with 2X. And the times with the SBR both came in right between the times that I had for the Mac 5. So in looking at this, the red reticle M22 had the slowest time overall, but it had the fastest time on the SBR. The amber reticle on the Mac 5 had the fastest time, but it had the lowest score. So in all of this, I really don't think I can say categorically that there is any advantage one way or the other when it comes to color of the reticle on the M22. I think it really comes down to the shooter and personal preference. For anything that can be measured, I'm just not seeing it, at least with me behind whatever firearm is being used in the test. So I would say if you're looking at the M22, first, good job, because I really like that optic. Second, get whichever color reticle you like the best and don't worry too much about whether or not you made the best decision or you should have gone with the other one or whatever. I just don't think there's any measurable difference that we can see when all we're looking at is color. And before I wrap things up, I want to say a big thank you to Meprolight, specifically Jordan at Meprolight, for sending the M22 Pro that I used. Without his assistance, this video would not have been possible. Thank you very much, Jordan. I appreciate it. And again, I think these are fantastic sights. In any case, that's the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments about this video, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, stop by my website, hrfunk.com, check out the news and information page to see all the latest things that are going on with me and the channel, and go by the products page because a lot of the products that I've reviewed here on the channel have links to the manufacturers on that page, and there's some information underneath some of those links that'll save you some money if you decide to make a purchase. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.